Hey, I'm John Kanell, author of Preppy Kitchen, Recipes for Seasonal Dishes and Simple Pleasures. If you've never had trifle before, it's layer upon layer of deliciousness. You have a base of whipped cream, and on top of that is a lovely vanilla cake, usually soaked in some kind of alcohol, maybe some fruit juices too, and then wonderful fruits. You could have berries, stone fruit, anything that's in season, and then you just repeat it up. First off, set your oven to 350. We're making a really easy, delicious vanilla pound cake. Start off with 3 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, right into a medium bowl. We're gonna sift everything together. 2 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and we can give that a sift before the sugar goes in. This is a nice step just to catch any lumps or bumps, things that you might not want in your flour that could be lurking there. And it also helps give it a pre-mix. I also want 2 1/4 cups of granulated sugar. Add that right in. Give us a quick mix. This is a stir together recipe, so we're gonna use melted butter in here. There's no mixer happening. And if you wanna have like little ones or a kitchen novice helping you, it's the easiest recipe. Okay. Into a large bowl, I'm adding 4 large room temperature eggs. And here's a little cake making secret for you. If you want a cake that bakes up really evenly, do not use cold ingredients ever. Cold ingredients are for making pastry. We're gonna use melted butter, so if you wanted to have a pro-level cake, you could warm the milk up or let it come to room temperature while you're getting everything else prepped. And 1 cup or 2 sticks of melted butter. I'm gonna whisk this in. Trifle is a quintessential English summer dessert. Trifle was actually designed to use those stale cake pieces that were left over from previous celebrations or just the odds and ends. So it's a dessert that you don't have to be super precious about. I love seeing the seeds in the cake and in the whipped cream, so we'll be using vanilla bean paste today. Oh my gosh, that smells so good. It's like a lovely vanilla custard. It's time to combine the wet and the dry. You could add the dry to the wet or the wet to the dry. It's gonna be delicious either way. I'm using a spatula today, and I'm gonna gently fold things together and take my time. We're not in a rush, and if I over mix the batter, it's not gonna be a lovely cake that accepts all of that Lillet and orange juice and cherry juice and peach juice. It's gonna be dense and gummy and just bleh. So gently fold it together. We're not gonna activate the proteins in the flour. Give the bowl a final scrape down just to check for any lurking lumps of flour. Then this is ready to pour into a 9 by 13 inch pan. You can butter this, you can use baking spray, you could even use parchment paper if you want. I'll be using baking spray today. This will bake 35 to 40 minutes or until it's golden, and you can use a skewer in the center to see if it's done or give it a little press in the middle. It should spring back. While it's baking, we're gonna make the rest of our ingredients. For the cherries, we're gonna add about 3 tablespoons of Lillet. This is a wonderful dessert wine. 1/2 of an orange, about 3 tablespoons. I'm in love with this juicer. That's so cool. And 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar. Give this a toss. And the cherries are gonna release their juice. They're gonna accept some of the things we've added. The sugar will dissolve, and we're also gonna use all of the juice that comes out of this in the trifle. And now we're on to the grilling portion. You can grill this outside on your barbecue. You want about 400 degrees or medium high on your cooktop. Let it get nice and hot so water will sizzle when it's ready to cook. In the meantime, I'm gonna brush my peaches with butter, and 1, this helps them to not stick to your grill, but 2, that butter's really rich and lovely, and it's gonna work into the peaches with the cooking and just make them really rich. Like, you'll get the vibe of like a peach cobbler or a peach pie. If you're pressed for time, or you don't have a grill pan or a grill, you can skip this step and it's gonna be delicious. If you're skipping this step, I would go for like the ripest, most luscious peaches ever. If you're grilling, they should be slightly firm so they don't fall apart. I'm gonna start cooking my first batch. So we're just gonna lay this on the grill carefully. Don't burn your fingers. And you want one of the flat sides getting those lovely grill marks. This really does smell like peach pie. It's been about 4 minutes. It's time to check and see if those grill marks are coming along, so carefully lift up. That's great. Look at that like nice char. It's gonna be delicious. For maximum aesthetics and deliciousness, flip them over for the other cut side now. Ooh, this first batch is ready, so I'm gonna remove these now and let them cool a little bit before I handle them. And I don't know if you can tell from seeing this, but these are so much softer, and that butter is just like baked into the peaches now. So they're even more rich. They have a lovely amplified flavor. The funny thing is, if you try and do this step really ahead of time though, the grill marks will dissolve in the solution that you're gonna add to this. So if you want that look, grill them like kind of just before assembly. Look how beautiful that is. Sharp knife. And my one hint for presentation is just to use these middle pieces in the middle. And the grilled pieces go pressed up against the glass so everyone can see it. It looks kind of cool. In fact, I'll save a couple of the very nicest peach slices to garnish on top as well. So you'll see me set a couple aside. My peaches are grilled and sliced, so I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of sugar, 3 tablespoons of Lillet, measured carefully, and 3 tablespoons of orange juice one more time. There we go, get that all in. Oh my gosh, this juicer is so good. So cool. Quick toss. There we go. Now set this aside and we're gonna make a mountain of the best whipped cream ever. Here, we're gonna use 2 cups of cold, heavy cream. If you want your cream to whip up really nicely, I would get my bowl and my whisk in the freezer for 10 minutes so it's nice and chilled. I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar here. You're also gonna add either 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, about 2 teaspoons or a tablespoon of vanilla bean paste, which I'm using today, or half a vanilla bean scraped right into the cream. We're gonna mix this up until it's almost ready. You never whip cream all the way until it's done. Always finish it by hand. It whips really fast, and here's the deal. Take the whisk off and just finish it by hand. There's a little cream at the bottom that's under-whipped. The cream in the middle is close to being over-whipped, and you wanna have the best control so it doesn't turn into sweet butter. There we go. Beautiful soft peaks studded with vanilla beans. It smells really good too. The whipped cream is amazing, but so rich, so you just can't eat that much of it at a time. It's not a challenge, just don't do it. If we add in an equal amount of yogurt, it's less sweet, has a little bit of a tang, it has more substance, and it's just a bit lighter when you eat it. So I love the way it tastes, especially in the summer. I don't want to be weighed down after dessert. Just stir that in with your spatula. Give it a good mix. It'll incorporate really easily. See, very nice. I cut my cooled cake into 1-inch cubes, and don't worry about the size. You can break these into smaller pieces as you need because we'll be fitting them all together to form a cake mosaic for one of the layers. But first, grab a 3 or 4 quart trifle dish. This is a 3 quart, so I'm gonna have extra of everything left over. In that case, you can make some wonderful mini trifles. This is like a mini trifle dish, I love it, but you could use glass tumblers or any small container will work. On the bottom layer, we're gonna add about 1.5 cups of our whipped cream mixture. The one thing I'll tell you is to not mark up the sides. You wanna have nice clean layers, so if anything happens, you can just use your clean finger or a napkin to wipe it off. Smooth it out into an even layer. Add your cake layers on top, and the one thing I wanna tell you is to really pack the cake close to it together. You don't wanna have big gaps. And once this layer is complete, we're gonna drench it in Lillet. If you've never had it, it's a lovely French aperitif. It's wine that's been fortified with citrus liqueurs. So it has this lovely note of citrus throughout, and it's slightly sweet. It's definitely not cloyingly sweet at all. grab a little less than half of the peaches, and we're gonna place those right on top. And as you spoon them in, you'll add more peach juice and Lillet on top. And here, if you have any peaches with a wonderful grill mark, just press them towards the glass so everyone can see. Okay. Repeat that with about half of the cherries. And here you can see, look at all that juice that the cherries released. This is liquid gold. It's so flavorful. I would drink this, but off camera. It smells amazing too. The orange really complements the Lillet with those citrus notes. Our first set of layers is complete. We're gonna repeat this now with whipped cream, cake, and berries, and then make it really special for the topping. I didn't forget about my mini one, so just like a scoop of whipped cream and a little bit of cake. We'll repeat that process too. If you're curious about what other recipes are in the book, I have a whole book playlist on my channel. I've been baking my way through the book and having a lot of fun as the seasons roll by. If you look at this reminds me of the most luxurious picnic you could ever be on. This with little sandwiches, some scones, maybe some wine or champagne. Nice. I'm adding the remaining cream right on top, using every last drop. Now we're gonna garnish with the remaining beautiful pieces of peach, just like that, highlighting all of those grill marks, a smattering of cherries. And as a final optional garnish, I actually brought something special to the kitchen from a local farm in Connecticut, little violas, and they are so fragrant and beautiful. I use them to make pressed flour shortbread cookies, which is one of the summer recipes as well. They make a beautiful garnish just to finish off our wonderful trifle. This, by the way, keeps for up to 6 hours. It's gonna get a little softer and soak in together, but be totally delicious. I wouldn't assemble it the night before. I would just serve this immediately or make it in the morning, serve it in the afternoon. That way it'll have like nice distinct layers, the whipped cream will be intact, and everyone's gonna be very pleased. Small one's mine, and it's time for a bite. That is so good. And perfectly sweet. It's not overpowering. The star is the fruit. So this wonderful peach is coming through with the cherries and that little bit of Lillet in the background. The cake is there to help you support everything, and the whipped cream is tying everything together like a lovely vanilla cloud. It's a delicious dessert. I hope you get to try. The recipe is in my cookbook and at food52.com, linked below. Don't forget to subscribe and like for more content, and I'll see you soon.